welcome to, of course, the Tuesday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder, sitting here with the comedians known as Fig and Talent. We always do what we do. And first, let me give you guys an introduction to who these comedians are. They've been in the comedy game for a very long time. They've been in the business since Def Comedy Jam. A little bit before that, they've been in comedy films, film festivals, film TV shows. I toured around the world, did the army bases, they did everything. Like, these guys have been in the comedy business for a very, very long time. First of all, let me just welcome these two guys to the show. That's Fig and that's Shang. Gentlemen, how you guys doing today?
Good, brother. Good. Thanks for asking, Frank. It's Friday. I feel good.
Yeah.
Yes. Sexy. It's Friday.
It's not Friday? Maybe I don't feel that good.
Yeah, I'm like, man, you're on the time machine.
Yeah, you know what it is? Sometimes we get just discombobulated. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's all about, you know. So let's get this show started, brothers. The COVID report I gotta say today is the San Antonio versus New Orleans game is postponed. And Jason Tatum, who came in last night, he literally had a bad case of COVID. Last night he did very well. He had the fever, the shakes, the chills. He had the whole thing. He was really, really sick. And I want to commend him just for being able to even play the game, because after having that, man, being sick like that, no, I don't even know how he was able to do it being that young. You know, maybe it's because he's young. Maybe that's what he was able to do. Maybe it had a lot to do with it, because, you know, it affects all.
Maybe Boston is a thug town, and they thug it out a lot. How about that?
Okay, I'll give him that.
In certain thug towns, you know, New York, Boston, Chicago, some of these towns are thug towns.
Yeah, I give him that. Now let's move on. The first thing I wanted to recognize today is that Kobe Bryant, this is the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death. I wanted to talk about it for a couple of reasons. One, because obviously what happened was Kobe Bryant. It's the way we kicked off 2020 last year. And before I even jump into my questions and thoughts about Kobe Bryant, Talent, you remember where you were when you heard the news last year?
Yes, I was in across the street from Madison Square Garden at the Hooters bar watching sports. I forgot what was on, but we're watching all of the screen TVs. We're having some buffalo shrimp and everything. I'm about to make my way to Jersey. I have a meeting with some guys to do this project, and then I'm getting on the train at Penn Station to go to Jersey and do my show. And the news came across the screen, like the little ticket first. It didn't come real full blown. It was the ticker. And somebody seen it and said, did I just read that right? And then all of a sudden, everybody's phones start going off with alerts and with breaking news. And we was just what's supposed to be like a 1 hour thing. I think I sat there about 3-4 hours just trying to wrap my head around what just happened. Like, did that really happen? You know what I mean? So I started calling his family in Philly. I started calling people I knew in LA on the West Coast, because once you heard how it was, I knew they would have had more local news than we did. So I remember exactly like yesterday, bro.
Yeah, Fig, it was definitely one of those moments where you're gonna remember exactly where you was when you heard what you heard. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
What about you, Fig?
It was incredible, man. First off, I'm just flabbergasted at the answer that Talent gave. He said that he was in Hooters watching sports.
Yeah, it's a sports bar. Hey, Hooters ain't what it used to be, bro.
No, it's not.
No, it's a regular sports bar.
Fig wouldn't know. He don't go. Go ahead, Fig. Where was you at?
No, man, but listen, I just happened to be at home at that particular time. You know, I'm a big sports fan. Whenever I'm home, I'm watching TV and stuff like that. You know, I got ESPN, Fox Sports, FS1, something like that on. You know what I mean? I'm always watching sports, man. And when I saw it, man, you know, it's just blown away, man. It was just like, what? No, like this got to be wrong. You know what I mean? Then like Talent said, my phone started going off. I'm looking on my phone. I'm looking at it. I was like, yo, man, this. I was like, man, all right. I was like, the helicopter went down, but you know, maybe they survived. And then when I found out his daughter was on there, and other people, I was just like, you know, it's a tragedy when you lose a celebrity, a star, and stuff like that. And then it goes to a whole other level when you find out that there are children involved also, you know what I mean, that haven't had an opportunity to even reach adulthood. It magnifies the tragedy even more.
Yeah. Let me move the show on with the same topic about Kobe Bryant. I'm gonna ask you, Talent. We're talking about Kobe Bryant. Everybody else has looked at it. Why is it that when we talk about the greatest of all time, we always compare Jordan to LeBron James, and we never include Kobe Bryant in it? My thought, when I was looking back on it and everything else, I was like, it would be. It's something that we've just completely skipped over Kobe Bryant. When if anybody should compare to Jordan, it literally should be Kobe Bryant. I mean, let's be honest, Talent. He's got this. He's got the rings. You know what I mean? Right. He's got the pedigree. He's got the age. He came in like younger than Jordan. He did some amazing things. So why do we not compare Kobe to Michael Jordan, and why do we always compare it to LeBron? What's the big thing?
Because it's always timing. Time is relevant, and it's all about the timing. Because if you go back, before LeBron came in making his noise, he was being compared to Jordan. All the comparisons was Kobe and Jordan. And a lot of it not only had to do with the winning, but the style of play. He emulated himself after, and he'll tell you this in any interview, I studied Jordan. And you can see it. You can put certain moves side by side and they're replicas. So for more than one reason, he was constantly compared to Jordan as greatness. But timing comes into play because when LeBron comes in, LeBron don't get to play with Jordan.
Right.
LeBron gets to play a little bit with Kobe before Kobe retires. So it's a big difference. So now when all that tenure of Kobe Jordan talk, then Kobe retires, and you never got to the point where anybody said, yeah, Kobe's better than Jordan. That never really happened with the masses. So now that argument's over. So now here's the new kid who came in with all the hoopla, supposed to be the greatest, the GOAT, and blah, blah, blah. And now he's building his rapport. So obviously it's going to go revert back to being compared to who won the last battle of who's the greatest. And that's all it is. I don't think it's a swipe or a disrespect, because it's funny you bring that up, because I asked that to myself last night. I said, when people always get mad, like when Rodney Perry comes on and say, oh, y'all always hating on LeBron. We're not hating on him. We're just calling a spade as we see it. And in my spadism, Kobe's better than LeBron. Like, I would go closer to a Kobe being closer to a Jordan than a LeBron. That's just me.
Yeah, you know what? I would absolutely do that too. Fig, what's your thought process before I chime in? What's your thought process? Why do we always
the thing is, the main thing is I think that Kobe came in while Jordan was still playing at his height, and they sort of overlapped. And I think when LeBron came in, Jordan had already left, and the league was looking for a new face. And they crowned LeBron before he even got there. And then he had to live up to the hype. He was King James long before that. You know what I mean? He had the tattoo, the chosen one. So he was crowned that before, you know what I mean? And I think it's mainly because of the fans of LeBron James that gave him that title, and then said that he was better than Jordan. And nobody ever said that about Kobe. Nobody ever said that about Magic. Nobody ever said that about any other player other than LeBron James, that said that he was better than Jordan. And then Jordan even talked about it at Kobe's funeral and said that Kobe called him 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning to just pick his brain about how to do this and how to do that and how to get better and how to lead. And so Kobe is, to me, just like a lot of other people, is the closest to Michael Jordan that you're ever going to get. He as far as his game, he emulated. Some people even said that Kobe walked like Michael Jordan.
Listen,
the thing is that, to me, Kobe was the closest thing to Michael Jordan that we've ever seen. And honestly, I say what I say to stop an argument, but I wouldn't put LeBron James ahead of Kobe either.
Yeah, and I don't either. But maybe what Talent said is right. Maybe it's because of the errors. Let's look at this. Let's look at it like this, Talent. When Kobe came in, obviously the sneaker game wasn't the same. When LeBron came in, before he played one game, he had $100 million sneaker contract before he played one game. So let me ask you this. Do you think the media had a lot to do? Because we as fans, I remember vividly this. This is what I remember vividly more than anything. I remember, walking around in Boston at the time, and Boston had those summer leagues with the NBA players, so like sort of a lot of ball players walking around. I remember going up to some of these players saying, Do you all think that this LeBron kid, now he hadn't played a game. I said, do you all think this LeBron kid is the real deal, right? That's what I was saying to these guys. And some of these dudes who were in the league, playing summer league, they were like, yeah, this kid is the real deal. But let the sports people tell it he's better than Michael Jordan. A couple of guys told me that at the time when I was walking around. So do you think it was the media who was hyping up LeBron and was what reason why we skipped over the Kobe Bryant comparisons? What you think, Talent?
I mean, again, we skipped over it because of obvious reasons of timing. The errors have everything to do with that. But as far as him getting the accolades of being great before he touched the NBA professional basketball court, has everything to do with the media. But what else do you expect if a organization is about to crown someone else, so to speak, to be the face of that organization? There's always a press release. There's always a statement, and all the media thing that they did was their stamp of approval and statement after statement. And then when you finally get on the court, like you said, the shoe contract was clear and apparent of where we was going with this. But when you get on the court, what becomes clear, the NBA's way of confirming, if you have any doubt, their way of confirming is watch how the calls go.
Yeah.
We control the NBA. The one thing we can control is everyone who works for us. And the refs work for us. So all I need is a couple of conference calls, a couple of meetings saying, listen, I don't need this guy getting hurt too much, right? I need this guy to be around 15 years. I need this guy to be the blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Because they already know what they're going to do. We're going to build you as the face. You already got the talents and the skills. All we got to do is do our part and push the envelope and do what you got to do. Now, again, to Fig's credit, when he said, well, they never did the comparison with like a Magic Johnson. Fig, you got to realize, again, go back to the era. Michael had to pass Bird and Magic to get where he was. So era-wise, it's about when you come in and who's doing it. It's all about that. Like that steers every conversation. That's why all of a sudden, no matter what sport we're talking about, when we were talking about Brady and the GOAT and who's the best quarterback, you don't bring up, you hardly hear Marino anymore. Because eras have, we've passed that time. So once you pass time, that's called digging back. LeBron came at a certain time. Jordan was gone. He only had to deal in a race or pass and accomplish the accomplishments already set by Kobe at that point.
Yeah. And they met when they were playing basketball. Of course, they played together in the Olympics. They did all the stuff they did. Anyway, let's get ready to bring my man, comedian known as Shang, into the conversation. First of all, Shang, how you doing, brother? How's everything?
I'm hanging in there, man. You know, I ain't stabbed my neighbor yet, so the shit is, you know what I mean? That nigga, he about to get it, though. I mean, I'm not sure when, but soon, real soon. He know every time he see me in the hallway, I be like, yeah, you know it's coming. It's coming. So I'm doing like hanging in there.
That's good, bro. But first, let me jump you into the conversation. We're having this conversation right now where we were talking about, obviously, on the anniversary of Kobe's passing, which was today. First of all, we talked about where we were when we heard that and everything else. But then I brought up a question that I don't think a lot of people are even talking about. The question I brought up is, why is it that everybody keeps comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan? They completely skip over Kobe Bryant. So I'm gonna let you jump in there. You know, being that you're a comic and you like to talk sports. You know, I asked Talent the question. I asked Fig the same question. I'm gonna ask you the same question and say, why do you think we do that? Why don't we compare more to LeBron to Kobe? I mean, to Kobe to Jordan, when that makes the most sense, because you know, like Kobe was a beast on the basketball court. Right. His rings speak for itself. You know what I mean? So, what's your thought?
First off, I want to say that whatever Fig and Talent said, they all wrong. Whatever they said, I'm like, fuck that. No, I'm kidding. Whatever they said was wrong. No, I'm kidding. No. What's up, Fig? What's up? You know, New York in the building. So the end of the day is because I think actually he's past Kobe from standpoint of just notoriety, and also because he speaks out on social issues, and he also put his money in other venues, it makes him a little bit more, not in the basketball sense, in the global sense. So I think that end of the day, that's why they kind of skip over Kobe, and they shouldn't, but they skip over Kobe, and LeBron made himself relevant not only on the court, but when it came to the issues that we're talking about, he spoke out at way more than Jordan, because Jordan he would sit there quiet. He never said nothing. He never spoke up for his own teammates. So that motherfucker, he can kiss my ass. I don't like Jordan. But I don't like Brady either. I hope Brady get hit by a car and dragged through acid.
Oh,
really?
Here we go. Get ready to get started. I like that. Get ready to get started early. Cal, you got a question for my man Shang?
Shang crazy as hell.
Yeah.
Shang, what's gonna happen? Your neighbor gonna whoop your ass. You're gonna lose that fight, and then you ain't gonna be able to come back on. Listen, it's good to see you on the show, though, brother. You know I love you to death. So when we talk about Kobe, would you agree that, when you start an argument and the winner of that argument continues on to the next, it's like playing spades, right? If these two people win, these two people get to play the next two people waiting. So if you had the Kobe Jordan argument for a decade or so, right? And then at the end, the general consensus is Jordan is the GOAT. It's only right that the next guy who comes in who you think may be the GOAT, the argument's going to go against who won the last battle was Jordan. So that's why I think the comparison. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. I just think that I think relevancy, social media wise, because you got to think there's even comics that if they got a bigger social media than you, they think they're funnier than you. They think, right? It's the same thing. Right now, he's in a social media era, and so I think that much more than Kobe was. So I think that people make that argument and they skip Kobe, not realizing the greatness of Kobe. Because it wasn't as relevant on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Well, he wasn't but whereas in LeBron, just like LeBron has nurtured that social media combination and talking about the things. The reason I like LeBron better, not just as a player, but as a man, as a person, he's not shy to speak out on issues for us. And I think it takes some courage to do that. And I didn't see really Kobe do that often, if at all. And I know Jordan didn't. Jordan was more like, buy my shoes. I don't give a fuck who, gets killed over my shoes.
Right. Well, I mean, I agree. I agree with that. That's an excellent point. You make a great point with the whole social justice and being relevant with what's going on. But also to his defense, to help him along is climate is everything. When we look at the times that people played the ball game, the climate wasn't set for them to be as boisterous and as venturous and stepping out there and saying those things. You take a LeBron and you put him back in, say, a Magic Johnson, Larry Bird era, and he's trying to talk the same way he's talking now. Oh, they shut him down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that part. I agree with that.
Very good point. Very good point. He definitely gets shut down. It's like, thanks for your comments, nigger. Appreciate you, and you're a great player, but nigger, you're a little bit over the line. Yeah, cut his mic off.
He won't be able to play this week. He has a phantom injury. He won't be able to play.
Phantom? Did you say phantom?
That's how the CBA was built.
Yeah.
Niggas didn't talk to him. We need somewhere else for them to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Shang, you got a question for Shang?
Yeah, man. Shang, listen, man. First off, what's up, man? Good to see you.
What's good?
You know what I mean? Listen, as a comedian, I would pick you out as one of the comedians that I would consider socially conscious. You know what I mean? And relevant. I mean, it's even in some of your material and stuff. Oh, come on, man. Listen, we're not going to do that.
I'm trying to do pussy jokes and get the bag. African accent, and I'm gonna get signed. That's what I'm gonna do.
Listen, man, we know. I mean, we had those conversations behind the scenes, so I know what the deal is, and I can see you, being a fan of LeBron James because it kind of goes along with how you feel. I put LeBron James in the same category nowadays as like back in the day when Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, with Jim Brown, when all those guys had that meeting. So I mean, I say that to say, like, I know LeBron James is more socially conscious probably than any other former basketball star. But the question that I would have for you is, can we separate the socially conscious athlete, you know, him being socially conscious from actually what he did on the court. Like that's something that I do. I like to compartmentalize. Like I say, basketball is basketball. What you do off the court is what you do off the court, and it doesn't really influence what you do on the court. Now, can you separate the two? And then when you're looking at it, can you say, all right, who's better socially conscious aside?
No, I can't. And nobody does that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody really does that. I mean, if I heard Talent was kicking white babies down steps, no matter how many times I watch Talent kill on stage, I'd be sitting there going, that nigga be kicking white babies down steps. I mean, he's funny. No, I'm not saying he's not funny. I'm just saying he's a baby kicker. Like you can't separate it. You can't separate it. No, that's not true. No, that's not true. You can't.
Wait a minute, what kind of steps are we talking about? What kind of steps are we talking about? Are we talking about a private house or a project?
I'm talking about those steps in the Bronx. That's kind of.
Hold on 1 second. Do it fucking matter, Fig?
Yes. Because steps in a private house. Listen, steps in a private house are made of wood and it's a softer landing. Them steps in the projects are unforgiving because they made out of steel and concrete.
But you're kicking a baby.
Steps.
I think that Frank made a good point. No, what I'm saying is it's like even with music or with comedy or whatever else, sometimes it's hard to separate it. And because of social media, it's all combined now. It's it's even what they wear. I mean, you could be a great football player. You wear some old bati boy. You wear some bati fish swishy.
Why?
You wear that, and then you know what they're talking about? They're not talking about, damn, he dropped 40 on the game. You know what they talk about?
His feet.
Did you see the dress on that nigga?
Yeah.
I mean, Allen Iverson's my favorite player. I don't care what nobody say because he had heart. He was smaller than other players. And to go against some of the players he went, and he was injured all the times and still was dropping 40 on people. He changed the way hip hop and basketball was looked at.
And he was a trendsetter. He was the first one wearing the braids with the tattoos and all that other stuff.
With the big jewelry.
He did so much stuff. The NBA had to put in the dress code and everything else. They didn't. It got so bad and out of hand. They entered the dress code. But let me ask you this, Shang. Let's keep the conversation going on. Let me say this to you because now I want to switch to football and I want to ask you. You know, the big topic today is Aaron Rodgers is doing this, and Aaron Rodgers is doing that, and Aaron Rodgers is doing this. Look, now let's be honest. Aaron Rodgers is 37 years old. He's playing for Green Bay. I went and said a couple of things. Talent said a couple of things. Fig said a couple of things. I think that Aaron Rodgers will not be in a Green Bay uniform in this next upcoming season because he definitely seems to be running at the end of his rope, and he's just maybe sick and tired of what's going on in Green Bay. That's just my thought process of what's going on in Green Bay, and maybe he doesn't like the fact that they drafted another QB when they should have drafted him a wide receiver. You know what I mean? And he definitely needed help in that game. What's your thought process on Aaron Rodgers and where he's at? And then we're going to touch on the, I'm sure Talent is going to ask the greatest coach versus greatest because he don't know that fit. Well, anyway, answer that question first about Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is right to want to go to another organization because I feel like they don't see how much value he really has. I mean, they give him he gets the bag. Don't get me wrong, he definitely get the coin. But I just feel like, in the scheme of things, the way they talk about him, they sound like they minimize him. They didn't give him help, and I think that because of that, he feels like, well, you know what? I think I'm going to take my talents to someone else. Like he's gonna pull that, and he should. We all should do that as anything. You have to realize your value, and I think that he does, and he's still young enough where he can still do damage, and I you know what I'm saying, so I that's what I think he's gonna do.
Listen, he's about to be MVP. If you want to be honest with you, he's gonna definitely be MVP of the season when it's said and done. Everything else. Talent, you got a question for him, or should I ask?
You know what the question is, Frank. You know what it. So me and Frank, we had this run on the whole season when the big split. Let's call it the big split of Brady and Belichick, and Frank was, Frank's a diehard homeboy with New England. Oh, Belichick, blah, blah. I said, no, Frank. I said, listen, if I had a choice to get the great player versus the great coach, I'm going to take the great player because the coach, he's good, but he can only do so much. He can't get out there and make it happen himself. The player can. He can make he's the big difference maker. You can get a great player and a good coach and still get those chips. what would you pick first? What do you put over the other one? The great player or the great coach? I would say like a Jordan, Phil Jackson, or Belichick, Brady.
See, that's not fair. That's not fair, Town. You throwing the NBA.
Frank is like, hold up.
NBA is different.
Okay. Forget the NBA. Just go with Belichick, Brady. You got great and great.
In the NFL, if you're starting your franchise, do you get the great quarterback or to start your franchise, or do you get the great coach? Which is the first thing you pick?
You get the great player, because the great player will actually pull in other great players, because other great players are like, yo, I want to play with that dude because I know he do damage on the court. And a lot of and Belichick was like watching flies fuck. He just has a personality. Oh, really? He has a personality of a fucking. You remember those things on Easter Island? That's what he looks like. Just look like. I wouldn't want to be around that dude forever. I want to stab you in the head with a prison spoon. I don't like him either. I don't like by the way, I don't like the Patriots. I don't like the Patriots because I never liked the Patriots, never liked Dallas, America's team. Shut up. Shut your mouth. America's team. Belichick. Ain't nobody gonna pick Belichick over Brady. Nobody.
Oh man,
I did. Fig, you got a question for him?
Yeah, Frank. Shang, let me ask this, man. What is your criteria for the greatness of a player, whether it be basketball, football, whatever? What is your criteria? Is it winning or is it stats?
Stats.
Like to me, to me, if your stats don't end up to winning, then they're like empty. They're like empty calories to me. You know what I mean? That's why I'm like, your stats are all right, but if they don't help you win, you know what I mean? Like I like winners, you know what I mean? And that's my criteria, but I want to know what's yours. Like
wow,
especially when it comes to like Brady and a player like Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning. Like, we all know that they were great players, but Brady won more than all of them, so people call Brady the GOAT. So what's your criteria for greatness?
Stats. I'm telling you right now, stats matter. I don't know why. I'm gonna make a shirt. You know, stats matter. Real shit. Nah, man. I think it like. So you saying Charles Barkley ain't good?
No, he's dope.
And he did better than the players that won. That are absolutely monsters. So I think there's a tendency for people to go, well, you ain't do this. That's like comic wise saying, you ain't do no HBO special. And we all know we didn't smoke many a comic with HBO specials.
Right.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, right. They put a dent in them. Right. I've used to do shows with. Let me tell you something, Frank. I used to do shows at a place called LeBar Bat back in the day.
Yes, sir.
I used to do that and Nails. Right. We would see comics come in that were bigger names, and then you got motherfuckers that's real hungry and really about that comedy life. They brought that smoke and put dents in them. So does that mean, but you weren't on HBO? No, that don't mean nothing. It means it don't mean nothing when it comes to the stats. And I think I correlate that with football players. There's a lot of football players that didn't get rings, a lot of running backs that didn't get rings, that are monsters that broke record after record after record, and those go down in history when you think about it. Just like
let me add the caveat to what he's saying, that I would have to agree with you, Shang, because this is why stats goes higher than winning. We're talking about team sports, and when you're talking about team sports, you may have other pieces in your team that's the reason why you don't get the championship or that you got a losing record. But as an individual in your job, what you do, whether that's a cornerback, receiver, running back, lineman, whatever, he's right. If your stats are so consistent and so above everybody else, your greatness is not to be denied. The winning, at the end of the day, winning relies on everybody collectively clicking on all cylinders at the same time. That shouldn't affect that person's greatness.
Now, that's the perfect segue to what I wanted to ask Shang. Perfect segue, because we talking about stats, right? We talk about stats? Okay.
Yes.
If we're going to talk about stats, Shang, I'm going to ask you this. The ballots today, the Major League Baseball is casting ballots right now for Hall of Fame, okay? The question I'm going to ask you, should Barry Bonds be in the Hall of Fame? Because right now, I've been listening to Sports Talk Radio, all and everything else. People are saying Barry Bonds should not be, Roger Clemens should not be. Okay, a list of guys who should not be, because of why? Because they think that steroid. Now, of course, we all know where the steroid thing happened and everything else, but their stats say, hands down, they should be in the Hall of Fame. And if you're going to include some people who are in the Hall of Fame who have taken steroids, you should include all of them. You can't take some out and some not. So I'm going to ask you, Shang, should Barry Bonds be in the Hall of Fame?
I think they should make a separate Hall of Fame for steroid motherfuckers. Like, they should be like, this dude won naturally by his natural God-given talent.
But how do you know that? How do you know that?
This dude had horse hormones, and when every time he talk, you hear, nah.
But Shang, honestly, you don't know who took steroids and who don't.
I know, but man, some of them was real obvious. When he come back in the next season, his arms look like Popeye. Get out of here! Get out of here! Get out of here! You bum! You bum! You. Nah, I don't like. Even I'm a huge UFC fan, and I'm a huge UFC fan, and I feel like everybody's taking steroids, but the ones that talk that shit like, no, I'm natural. I beat your ass natural. I get him more props. Because with steroids, you heal faster, your muscle build. But the only thing it doesn't help you with necessarily reaction time, but it does help you with strength where you can knock the cover off the ball. And I think, they shouldn't be in there. They shouldn't be. Or separated. Say, well, these guys, that's like, these are the enhanced humans and these are the regular humans.
Right.
I know that's a Marvel reference, by the way, for all you motherfuckers that don't watch Marvel. But man, it's like a lot of those cats, man. They was how you mediocre that you come back the next season and you knocking the ball into other cities. It's because you got needles in your ass. Yeah.
And Barry Bonds was bad too because he was already good, and then he went from good to being amazingly good. It was ridiculous for him.
You're already good, right?
Yeah,
one thing that they do say about Barry Bonds is that he had Hall of Fame stats long before he started knocking, long before he started using or what they say accused him of using steroids. His Hall of Fame long before that.
But he had good songs before he started peeing on chicks.
Yeah, but that was I mean, that's a social injustice, because let's think about it. That happened in the same time and era that McGuire was breaking records. They were breaking records at the same time, and they were lifting him on a pedestal and applauding him. But when Barry Bonds got it, then it was like, that's where we draw the line. These niggas are getting too strong.
That's the honest to God's truth. Shang, thank you for joining the show, brother. So tell us what you got going on. What you got going on, Shang?
Man. And Fig, thanks for the shout out. You saw the clip from the special.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I did a special.
Really good, man. Yo, let's push that, man.
Man, I'm just starting to push it, man. Got a special that I want y'all to go check out the website, iamshang.com. Anybody that you want to see the clip of the trailer of the special is called Shang is Shangri, live in New York. We did it in Manhattan at a place, 68th and Broadway, John Jay University. We did we did it there, did 2 shows, Cypher Sounds, down with it. And make sure y'all check out the special. It's called Shangri. You can check it out on my website now. And then next month, it'll be on Amazon Prime, Tubi, Peacock, and I forget the other one. So, I mean, because I had so much bad shit happen the past 2 years other than COVID. I had so much shit. This is a little bit of light for me. So,
Shang, it's a pleasure seeing you even walking among us, because I know you had some health issues.
I was fucked up. My kidneys.
That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, man, my kidneys was like, Look, every time I walk out, they're like, listen, bitch, this is what you gonna do today.
Hey,
you gonna fall down.
Remember I called you?
Yeah.
Hey,
Shut up,
I forgot what I told you about, but this shit got real serious real fast. I was like, oh shit. You need a kidney?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, look, Fig, we both high yellows. So listen,
I
heard all three.
Yeah, all three. That's true. Like you said, Talon made sure he corrected that. No, all y'all beige. All y'all.
You smart, Shane. You smart. You moved out to the warm weather. These niggas gonna die. They're gonna die next year, guaranteed.
No, I've been back and forth though. I went back. I went back and forth. I went back. My uncle died, so I had to go to Kingston and get all that shit straight. And
Wow.
so the my main thing is, man, I appreciate seeing y'all because the shit has been real wild lately. And me and Talent, but we was on the gram before my shit got hacked. I would see him playing music, and I would literally be working on the computer, listening to him play music because I was like, oh, he plays the shit I listen to.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So I mean, and Fig, we see each other on Facebook, and I ain't seen you in a while, Frank. And I'm glad you're healthy. I hope that your fam is healthy because you know I'm saying a lot of people going through a lot of shit. So I hope that they like the special. You could only put it out and hope people like it. But so far, people seen the trailer and been like, "Yo, you did
they're
your
gonna
thing."
love it. You're a funny dude. You can't be denied. People gonna love it. I guarantee you. I bet the house on that. You know, and you're a survivor. More importantly, Frank almost died too last week, by the way. So you doing good. That's a hospital room here. Look at that blind. That's what I'm telling you. The man
messed up.
We are survivors, baby.
We are still here, so I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for joining the show, man. We got to have you back again. We got to talk about the UFC with you coming back. We got to have you back. Just talk about other sports and everything else. But thank you, man, for taking the time doing the show. We appreciate
it. Y'all be safe.
Yeah,
Shang.
Yeah, all right, y'all. That's my man Shang out there right there, y'all. In case y'all didn't know, that's Shang, and Shang does his thing. But now we got to bring in Mr. Rodney Perry because Rodney Perry does this show that we always talk about. I disagree, and I'm sure Rodney got a whole lot of stuff to talk about what we disagree with today. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Rodney, how you doing, brother?
This is the anniversary of a soldier going down. He went down. Not only did we lose Kobe Bryant, but we lost his daughter and their friends at the same time. Tragic. The question was asked, what were you doing that day? I remember less about what I was doing, more about how I felt. I never met Kobe Bryant, was never a part of his life, but I was saddened. I found myself weeping at the thought that this man was gone. And that speaks to who he was. I'm sorry we had to disperse his memory with the comparison to the great Michael Jordan. And let me be clear. Michael Jordan is the best basketball player ever. Right? Let me be clear. That includes Kobe Bryant and anybody else. But on this show, it seems whenever this subject comes up, it ends up being a bash LeBron session. I ain't bashing LeBron, but then you proceed to bash LeBron. What LeBron do to y'all? What Fig say? Stats. I like stats. Oh no, I like greatness, but I don't like LeBron though. How that make sense? How you like stats and wins and don't like LeBron? It don't go together. I wrote it down. Fig saying I like women. Except LeBron. That's what you need to say. From now, say I like women unless their name starts with an L. LeBron.
Can't.
How dare you? How dare you? Kobe Bryant, and then it was an error, and then it was Michael Jordan. Maybe that's how they. But how about this? How about all the people that were heir parents? Well, how about Grant Hill? Let's not forget him. Let's not forget Jerry Stackhouse, Vince Carter, Penny Hardaway, D. Wade, Allen Iverson, Harold Miner, Kawhi Leonard. LeBron ain't the only one. It was a lot of people that fell short of the LeBron legacy. And you look at every single one of them, and who's still standing? Yeah. LeBron James. Not to mention that, like I said before, LeBron's kids are better than Michael Jordan kids. I said it. If you're so good, make your legacy do something. You cold? I want to see what your kids gonna do.
You're gonna see what the kids gonna do. Okay.
I want to see what your kids gonna do. But that's neither here nor there. Let's not besmirch the name of the great Michael Jordan. And we got down the road of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers will go nowhere. Write this down, Frank. And I know you always go, well, I see it this way. Well, let me tell you something, Frank. Your glasses is foggy, Frank. And y'all talk about Aaron Rodgers like he didn't have a good team. Devontae Adams is cold. Tavon Austin is cold. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, cold. Funches, that tight end, Tanyan, whatever his name is, that dude was cold. Where is Aaron Rodgers gonna go with as good a team? They might need one piece. And how about this? If the Green Bay Packers is stupid enough to let Aaron Rodgers go, they supposed to lose. They supposed to lose. Stats versus wins. I'm glad y'all put Shang off. I was ready to give him a piece of my mind too. How about this? Y'all want to talk baseball? How about this? Steroids? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying to win. I said it. Let me tell y'all something. Steroids save baseball.
Yo, that's the truth.
Everybody want to say nothing. Everybody want to act like baseball wasn't on his last leg. Steroids save baseball. Think about it. Remember McGuire and Bonds and what's that other boy, the Puerto Rican?
Oh, I know he's talking about.
Sammy Sosa done bleached his skin. That is a travesty. That should keep him out of the Hall of Fame.
That's the truth.
Steroids saved baseball, flat out. I'm telling y'all remember until McGuire and Bonds and Sammy Sosa start hitting the home runs, won't nobody give a shit about baseball. Baseball was done. Them boys start hitting home runs. All of a sudden, we was like, oh, what's happening over there on the baseball field? Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. That is a fact. Number 2 is LeBron James.
Hell no.
Nope. Never.
We all got opinions. You're entitled to yours. I'm entitled to mine. So what we're gonna do is continue to dismiss stats, and we're gonna continue to dismiss wins.
Listen, stats and wins matter.
It's not your turn. It's not your turn. It's not your turn, Tyler. Kobe Bryant. When I think of greatness, and I'll close with this. I think of the great Kobe Bryant. I think of Mamba mentality. I think of the fact that he was born in August, which makes him a Virgo. A lot of great Virgos out there, including myself. When you put it all together and you hash it out and you start going, who's a Virgo? You go Kobe Bryant, oh yeah, and Rodney Perry.
You know what? God bless you, Virgos, man. You know, by the tone of your segment, I thought you was a Libra.
Let me tell you something, talent. You're a baby kicker. You're a baby kicker, and we know about it. And you kick the white baby down a flight of wooden steps and metal steps.
Oh my goodness.
Hey yo, you can tell figures from Brooklyn fixing. Hold up, what kind of steps?
What kind of steps?
Yo, because I lived in the projects and I lived in a brownstone. Them steps is different. All you gotta do is fall down a pair of steps in the brownstone and then fall down a pair of steps in the projects. It's a totally different experience. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I know.
It's definitely different. It's definitely different. Rodney, we thank you for that segment, brother. But let me ask you this.
I gotta jump off. I gotta jump off.
You sure? Bye.
I love you guys.
Rodney, he's in and out. But I want to start with Rodney, so I'm gonna start with you guys and ask you all this. Do you think the NBA should have the NBA All-Star game? Because right now they're talking about having the NBA All-Star game in March. They're talking about doing like they normally do, except it's gonna probably be in the bubble. Everything else. Tal, let me ask you first. Do you think they should have the NBA All-Star game when players now are you see what's happening? They're contracting COVID. Look, Jason Tatum just came back. Couple of stars. Matter of fact, I forgot to even mention the 2 stars from the LA Clippers are out the next 6 games. Kawhi and Paul George because of COVID. So, do you think they should continue with this with this NBA All-Star game? What you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think anything, you know what, as everything went on and we're coming up on a full year with this COVID and pandemic thing, I hate to say it, Frank, but I think all the people that have decided to go ahead with sports and entertainment, we now found ourselves needing the morale booster more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that you can add and expound upon or embellish upon that has to do with bringing the morale up, it's sort of like what they're doing in politics, man. This new administration, this guy done had to sign 100 executive orders already, and it only been 2-3 days. Like, I think all of this stuff is morale boosting. We understand that collectively, as a people in this country, we're pretty much, for the majority, we're down and out. Depression's at an all-time high. So I think things like the All-Star game, to see your favorite players come together like you do every year and compete conference versus conference, East versus West, and you get to see LeBron laughing with the best player over here. I think we need that.
Okay. Big, what's your thought? What's your 2 cents on that?
Man, I think technology has pushed us forward to the point where I heard on the news, I believe it was the other day, they had something called dogs that would be able to sniff out people that were COVID positive. Now, if this works, then I think you can have an all-star game in a bubble type situation, and possibly some fans, if these dogs are able to sniff out COVID, they have dogs that sniff out bombs and stuff like that, drug sniffing dogs. If they can find dogs that can really determine whether you're COVID positive or not, then I believe that, it's quite possible to have a safe all-star game in a bubble, because we already proved that the bubble works. I mean, we already have we have an example of what they did with the playoffs and in the NBA championship last year. So we know bubble works. So I think you could do an all-star game in a bubble and like I said, possibly have some fans if you have these COVID sniffing dogs. And last but not least, piggyback off what Talent said, is that when it was a depression and times are hard, entertainment is always at an all-time high. And I think he's absolutely right, with the way that we are right now in this COVID environment, like entertainment and sports should be at an all-time high. And, it's really necessary right now.
Well, but neither one of you said one thing that I was looking for you all to say, and that is, if we have an all-star game, we are basically giving a chance for one of the NBA stars to actually catch COVID, like what Jason Tatum got. Like, we're putting more of a risk, an additional game that doesn't mean anything in the standings, doesn't mean anything for anybody at all. We're just giving them a greater risk of catching COVID. Do we really need an all-star game? Look at the NFL. The NFL this year, they are not doing the Pro Bowl at all. They, not that they even need to.
That's a bad comparison, though. People don't care about it.
It's over. It doesn't mean anything. There's everybody's not coming. It doesn't mean anything. And the Super Bowl's in that one game. I get that, but I'm just saying.
But think about people. Think about morale, right? Mm-hmm. Think about where we are as a people. Think about the morale of, and these guys are warriors. These guys are heroes to most. Mm-hmm. Anything we look up to is a hero to us. So that goes for the superstar actor, the superstar entertainer, the athlete. They took these jobs on to be these people that, you see what they're doing with social justice. Mm-hmm. Their people, they are representing the people that they're fighting for. When you say Black Lives Matter, we're the most depressed. When I say people, I say people being polite, but if I really be honest about it, it's our people. It's the minority and the less fortunate who are suicide numbers are up. Their morale is up, period. They're being clinically diagnosed with depression and being put on meds that they can't afford and stuff like that. And this is all doing part. I mean, we all got to play our part as bringing that morale back up and making people be motivated and, more importantly, believe in life, trumping death. That's what I look at it. Yeah, and putting them at risk, but I mean, putting a NBA player at risk, somebody who, most of these guys, if they had super pre-existing conditions, they wouldn't make the team in the physicals anyway.
That's true, but at the same token, all I'm saying is, listen, everything you said was 100% right. I can't even disagree with that. But all I'm saying is, is, do we really need entertainment that bad from the NBA All-Star? Now, remember, the NBA All-Star game is All-Star Weekend. It's the slam dunk competition. There's three-point competition. There's obviously the game. It's this thing where all these people are coming together and they all are migrating together. Then you got the parties and all that. Not even saying.
No. I don't think they're going to go that far, Frank. I think it's going to be the game. I think because of COVID, they're not going to do what they normally would do, especially the parties. I think what Fig said, as we know the bubble works, you create a bubble. Usually All-Star Weekend, you get a nice almost half a week or full week off. You give them a little time off. These players come into the bubble. They're there 5-6 days. They play the game because the game.
Let me say this, Fig. Let me say this, Talent. Hold on, Fig. Let me say this. You're absolutely right. But what's going to happen is, because the All-Star game is in Atlanta, what's going to happen is there are going to be a whole bunch of parties that are not sanctioned by the NBA. The average person is not going to know that, and they're going to still go to the parties. Some of the NBA players who all come from around town, everything, because the NBA players all descend on All-Star weekend, they're going to go to these parties also. So people will think that it's NBA-related type of event, and that's what's going to basically help keep COVID spread. That's what I'm saying. Fig, what's your thought? What you want to say?
I think there's two parts to this. One, I think it was mentioned earlier this week that in order for the NBA advertisers to be able to make the amount of money that they're investing in this NBA season, that the NBA All-Star game would be necessary in order to put that money into the NBA season. Number two is, when they created the bubble, nobody left. And you wasn't able to go in and out. So that's my only caveat to this. I said the All-Star game would be good if they create another bubble situation. Nobody going in and nobody coming out without permission, and you're tested every single day. So I think in that environment, it would be safe enough in order for them to do the game. I'm not talking about no parties and none of that stuff like that. That's under ordinary conditions. I'm talking about in a bubble environment only. You can't leave. You come into the bubble, you can't go. You have the All-Star game in the bubble, and then when it's over, then you can leave. Period.
Then guess what's going to happen? Like, everything you said is right, and then that's what's going to happen. A lot of NBA players are going to stop pulling out from wanting to participate because the NBA players didn't like the bubble. You know what I mean?
You don't get paid. You don't get paid.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm just saying, and Talent, you can disagree or disagree. Everything Talent said is right. Everything you said is right. I just don't think they should even force the issue by doing the NBA All-Star game, because it's going to create more issues. That's all I'm saying. It's not.
Well, I got news for you. What's going on in Atlanta is already going on.
Exactly. So first of all, why even have the NBA All-Star game in Atlanta? That's the worst thing to happen, man. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, it's a red state, and it's going to only attract other types of elements that's going to have people come down and descend. And if you're going to put the All-Star players there, and then the other NBA players who weren't invited to the game, who just want to go to the game and see that, they're going to attract. And you're going to bring the girls who are going to want to go to. I mean, it just, it just keeps building up more.
I understand. You
know what happened? You know what happened when that guy tried to sneak a girl into the bubble before?
Right.
You know what I mean? I think they ought to go back to the same place where they had the bubble and do the NBA All-Star game, not in Atlanta. Go back to where you were before in Florida. Do it I think it was at a Disney facility. Create that bubble all over again and do the game. And then when the game is over, then everybody disperse and go back to their regular teams.
What were you going to say, Talent?
I said everything you said was legitimate. It's not that, I'm not saying what you're saying is not legitimate. I think that, I know for a fact that right now, because state by state, these rules and regulations vary, Atlanta's doing that anyway right now. I think that when we talk about, here's the thing, the majority of the people who watch the NBA and their superstars are us at home who are watching televised and virtually. The majority of us ain't stupid enough to know that, the NBA is throwing these big parts. We know what situation we're in. So the majority of us fans would love to see it as a morale booster. Now, those exceptions to the rules that are already, whether you go there or not, Frank, I guarantee you 20 promoters got all-star parties.
Yeah.
So that's with or without the league actually playing the game there.
And that's my point, right? Yeah. And you made my point. That's my point, because the promoter's going to come there. They're going to have.
But they're going to do that anyway. My point is that's going to happen. Here's what I'm saying. Your concern is that part of your concern. What I'm saying to you is, whether you do it or not, they're going to do that anyway. Mm-hmm. So the game being played has nothing to do with whether they do that or not. Now, removing that fact, knowing that, then I say, I go with the morale thing, because what I know is facts to be true is I read these things every day. I know that people are killing themselves at a more alarming rate this past year because they can't cope with the depression. And the ones that are killing themselves are not the ones that are getting diagnosed that can fulfill a prescription. It's us who get diagnosed and can't fulfill a prescription.
Yeah. Well, brother, you just had the last word. That's the show for today. That's it. That's a wrap.
We're going to end on medication?
Yeah, we're going to end on medication.
Take your medication.
I think you can have the game.
Tell everybody out there how they can follow you.
Hey, everybody follow me. Important tonight, all my platforms going to be popping. At 6 o'clock, I'm coming back on with a new show and format I'm doing called the PTA Room. The PTA meaning potluck, therapy, and answers. We talking about any and everything. Nothing's off limits. Come on in, 6 o'clock. You can catch me on Twitter, and it's just comedy. You can catch me on IG, where it's going down at Talent the Comedian, and my Facebook, King Talent Harris. I'll see you there tonight.
That's what I'm talking about, Fig.
Yo, man, I love it. You want to find me, you can find me right here on Comedian Fig, all social media platforms. And every Monday through Friday, I'm at the box seats, baby. 1 to 2 p.m., baby. Monday through Friday, right here. And let me tell you something. I like that whole PTA thing, man. You know what I mean? I like the PTA thing. And I'm coming in for the answers.
That's a good idea. Good idea. That's the show, y'all. Show's called The Box Seats. We are on the channel called The Humor Mill. We are on every day, from Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2. We are on the Humor Mill channel from 2 to 3. Also, you can download the app. You can tell a friend to download the app and tell a friend to tell a friend. Do all of that. We appreciate you all. We appreciate Shang for joining the show today. We also want to thank Rodney Perry for I Disagree. We'll be back tomorrow. We got some more guests headed up for this week. We'll tell you as soon as we lock them in. But until then, we'll see y'all tomorrow at the same bad time. Same bad channel. Take it easy.
Box seats.